let's just sew whatever. Today we are going to be cutting out the Fiona bag in the medium size. There is small and then there is medium. I'm going to just go ahead and start cutting out my pattern pieces. I have not made any of the Izza Zaya patterns. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly, but I am so excited. This bag is absolutely adorable and I can't wait to make it. The materials I'm using are a waterproof cotton fabric that I carry on my website, but my friend Brittany at the Emporium had it printed with her design for one of the classes she hosted or taught that I hosted, and I was able to get some of the print, which I'm so excited about. And so I'm going to be using that along with a mid-weight Luxe distressed shimmer that I carry on my website in rose pink. Evermore, please stop. The pattern seems pretty simple, but I feel like you can use like the bow technique that you're going to learn in this. I feel like you could apply this to almost any bag. If you've been on the internet, you'll know that bows are very trendy at the moment. And I actually, one of the first businesses I had selling things was making hair bows. So for me, I've always loved bows. It's kind of a no-brainer. So like this resurgence of loving bows is very much exciting to me. So I'm cutting these pieces. Normally I actually use a piece of double-sided tape under that little area to hold it together, but in this moment I forgot it existed. So yeah, this is the stabilizer for the whole bag. It doesn't seem like a very large bag, so I'm excited. But this is part of the bow. And it does give measurements on this piece, but they might not be the easiest to follow. Like, they're very interesting measurements. But you could always maybe try to scale up or down too. Okay. It seems like a very straightforward and simple to cut and sew bag. So I feel like it would be really good for markets, craft fairs. You could even try to simplify it or add some like quilting to make it even more trendy, I guess. And as far as I could tell, there is very minimal hardware, like maybe a magnetic snap on the inside. And then any of these pieces that are cut on the fold, you could probably print out again and tape them together so that you have one large piece. All right, and then we have our main panel. Easy peasy, handle placement, etc. So I will go ahead and open up the pattern and check out like any additional cut list and have that ready to go. I hope you will too, if you're making this with me. And then I'm gonna... Oh my gosh, this is the cutest size. I would almost love to make it like enormous for like a travel bag, like an airplane big old tote, but we'll see. Because like I said, I feel like you could purchase the pattern for even the bow and try to scale it to add on to other bags, like easy peasy. All right, so there's our paper pieces all cut out. I did print this out on a cardstock paper. I really like when I remember to switch my printer paper over to cardstock, how the pieces feel. They're easier to trace. I know they're gonna last longer, and I feel like that's super important. So let's get into cutting out our fabrics. So I like to just print out my pattern pieces out of the paper, and then I like to keep the pattern itself on my phone, or you could use an iPad or anything like that. If you're someone who prefers paper, there's nothing wrong with it. I just find it so much easier for me to just have the one. So yeah, this is really, really simplified on the inside. It's just like a big dump tote, more or less. But that bow is just absolute perfection. So yeah, the main bag out of this, the bow out of this. And now I'm kind of debating what I want to do to change up the inside. Like we can add a zipper pocket with a zipper overlay. We could add like a larger slip pocket on that main lining panel. There are sewing tutorials included for this bag, so keep that in mind. If you don't want to watch this one, you can watch that one. I'm going to go ahead and print out page 9 of the pattern. That is our additional cut list. All right, just so you guys know, this pattern does not have any written instructions. It is only video tutorial. So luckily, not luckily, I mean, you could still watch theirs. There's no words. It's all in captions, which is totally fine. But yeah, I'm super excited to make this. It's so great. Okay, so I'm just going to lay my pattern pieces down and rotary cut around. I think we'll be fine. You could also trace first. I think I need a new rotary blade. Maybe I'll just try a different cutter. It's crazy, this one already feels sharper. Yeah. If you're not sure when to change your rotary blade, when you have to press really hard, That's when like you should sharpen it or change it. Truly. All right, so we need 2 exterior and 2 lining of this. And then we're also going to be adding some interfacing. I'm going to use SoFuse Plus for this. If it says what to use within the pattern, not really sure. You could use foam, Deca Light, fleece, or like SoFuse Plus. It's just going to depend on how sturdy you want the bag and how sturdy the materials you're using are. Okay, so we can set this aside until we need it for our lining, which I am going to be using that Donut Cat fabric for. And we will have 2 gusset pieces, and that's it besides our handles. And you could even use webbing for your handles if you wanted to. Okay. And when you're cutting and you can see your fabric kind of rolling up, just make sure you let it relax so that your cut is a little more accurate. And so I'm putting these pieces on my heat press because I need to add some interfacing to them. So I'm just kind of setting them over there. The handles are cut to be a contrast fabric. And they can be a webbing and a contrast, but I think I'll just do like double-sided 1-inch wide handles. So I'm going to cut 2 inches wide for one of the pieces, and then I'll cut either 1.5 or 1.75 for the other. Could also add more weight to where you're cutting. All right. So I'm going to grab my 18 by 3 inch ruler to help me cut out these straps. So we just need 2 straps. I feel like you could even make this into a little crossbody purse. Oh, it would be so cute. Okay, so 2 by 18. And we need 2 of these. And then I'll measure down the center. One inch. Make that mark. And then while I'm here to save time, I'm just going to add double-sided tape to the center over both sides of that line. You can also just do like a 1/4 inch double-sided tape on each edge or each side of the line if you'd prefer. So that's everything we need for the exterior, unless, like I mentioned, you want to add a little extra fancy touches to the bag. You can absolutely do that. more or less, it's kind of just a shell for creativity, really. So we'll go ahead and cut out our lining. It's so cute. Actually, I'll cut out the bow and then I'll cut the lining. So some of these pieces are cut on the fold. Oh, it's funny. It's like a ghost of something. This material is probably a little bit thinner than or thicker than she would have intended a bow be made from, so it might change the way mine sits just a little, but I'm okay with that. And then we're just going to keep this folded in half because when we go to the sewing machine, we're going to be folding that, or sewing across that fold line. Okay, so that was my one bow. I guess if you wanted to, you could add a bow to each side of the bag, but that feels like overkill to me. I had these in a bag, did I not? Well, I thought I did. I like to keep my pattern pieces lately in just these little Amazon Basics binder bags. So when I'm done with a piece, I can just put it in there and keep it in there for later. And we've got our cutting list here. Oh, that's so fun. She's got like a little tick area in the chart. That's so cute. Okay. So one exterior fabric for this piece. If your print is directional, just be careful of how you're doing this. All right, and then this piece, we're going to be folding in half. I'm pretty sure. And then we're going to leave a little opening to turn it through in this area. Ooh. Cutting out the bow center. And then these can go in that bag, hidden away. I do think I'm gonna make a big slip pocket out of one of the lining pieces. So what I will do for that is I'm gonna fold it past the button placement. And since this is not going to fray over time, I'm just gonna fold the edge down. So it'll be unlined on one side, but I'm okay with that. Because honestly, this tote is just for me. And then I could cut through both lining pieces at the same time, but this material is quite thick, so it might be a little harder than I'd like it to be. And then while I'm here, I'll just go ahead and at least mark the bottom center so that we can line up our gusset when we put that together. And then you can also transfer that snap placement marking onto your pieces. I'm just going to put it on one, and then I'll clip those together and mark holes on both sides through those pieces. And so now I know where the buttonhole is, and I'm just going to line this up like that. I'm like, well, make sure it's even, maybe. Found my little ruler. So yeah, it's like 1.75. Yeah, exactly on both sides. And then I'll at least have just like a slip pocket inside of it. And that is it for this piece, but I am going to put the pattern piece in the container because it has some other important markings for us. Then I'll snip the bottom center, and then I'm gonna measure. You could do this with a an erasing pen. I'm gonna measure a 1-inch line, and again grab that 1/2-inch tape and just put that right up against it, because I'm gonna use this to fold down when I get to the sewing machine. So we're almost done cutting this out. So quick, super cute. Okay, where did my gusset piece go? Ah. It's right there. It's so hard cutting fabric to like not waste any. You're gonna have to waste pieces sometimes, and it hurts. I think that's one of the reasons why, as a designer, I do a lot of rectangular shapes, rectangular pieces, because it's so much easier to not waste rectangles, you know? And then if you're not sure you're gonna remember which direction these pieces go in, you can clip the top or the bottom that is our lining. We added an extra slip pocket that is not part of the pattern. But those are super simple things you can do on your own. You don't necessarily need a pattern to tell you. It's okay if you think you do, but you don't, I promise you. You can do it. Okay, so I'm clipping this together so I know that that seam will be sewn together. Oh, I need my handle contrast pieces out of this. So we're gonna do 18 by 1.75, and I'm choosing 1.75 because this material is a little bit thicker. So the thickness of the fabric is going to make it harder to fold a smaller piece. That I just wanted to. So there you go. And then we'll measure center. And then double-sided tape down the center, right over that line. And this tape that I'm using is double-sided tape from Weft and Warp Co. that I also carry on my website. I love that you can just tear it and it doesn't leave pain on my fingers. I don't know how else to describe it. It tears really easily. And that is why it is my favorite. I have heard that in some climates it does not stick very well though. So just saying. All right, so this is our stabilizer. We're gonna need 2 pieces of the main body. This is gonna go on our vinyl. And so I'm just making a pile on my heat press. I'll get to in a second. Depending on the bag and where the stabilizer is going to be, sometimes I don't care about having the selvage in the cut. But like on the top exterior of a bag, I'm gonna be a little picky to not include it. Oh my gosh, this would be such a cute like raw leather inside bag too. Raw edge inside leather bag. Oh, be precious. Okay. This is a little short on one end. I'm okay with it. I can add a little scrap. It's at the bottom seam of the bag, and this stabilizer is not going to make or break the bag. I also don't plan on like selling the bag, so that is where I can make that decision for myself. Yeah, it's off by like maybe 1/4 of an inch. But again, I can make that decision for this bag. It will be for me, not for sale. And I just hate the idea of wasting a chunk of precious interfacing. All right, so now we can go over our cut list. We can interface. We're just gonna need to grab a magnetic snap. That's it. So we've got our handles and handle contrast, our lining gusset pieces. We have exterior gusset pieces. We have our lining main panels ×2, and then this extra little slip pocket. So that'll be really, really cute to add. We've got bow piece 1, 2, and 3, and our stabilizer pieces. So, yeah, that's everything. So we've got it cut. I'm just gonna go ahead and press those, and then we can sew this together. You could also follow, if you're like, well, I've got it cut, I'm doing this now. You can follow the original pattern videos and make it with the designer, or you can wait a couple days and sew it with me. Thank you so much for watching. I would love your feedback on my cutting videos. Let me know if you're liking the angle, you want me to try a little harder on making the angles better, lighting, whatever. Your feedback is important. As always, comment below. It helps other people see the video. It helps me know that people are actually watching it. And yeah, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Have a good one. Okay, bye.